morning to you this morning. This is Carnival Breakfast Show newspaper review segment, and I am Elizabeth Tessie Okemukoko. So this morning, as usual, we'll bring you newspaper headlines from the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, the Nation newspaper, and the Daily Post newspaper. We bring you headlines such as health workers protest controversial reform bills as National Assembly today. Also from the Vanguard newspaper, 2027, Makinde Wike camp breaks ice, move to save PDP. And from the Nation newspaper, court voids CBN takeover of Union Bank. And from the Daily Post newspaper, we also have that women storm House of Assembly, members' offices in Abia demand more legislative seats and appointments. Now we'll go into the news stories in details. We'll take the first one from the Punch newspaper. Health Sector Union, under the Joint Health Sector Unions and Assembly of Health Care Professionals Association, have announced plans to stage a national protest in Abuja over the proposed Health Sector Executive Bill 2026, currently before the National Assembly. The protest, which is scheduled for today, Thursday, March 26, is expected to draw healthcare professionals from across the country to the National Assembly complex, with participants converging at the Unity Fountain in Maltama, Abuja. In an official communication obtained by newsmen on Thursday morning, Josehu directed its affiliate union and professionals association to mobilize members en masse, warning that the proposed legislation could have far-reaching implications for healthcare professionals and the sector at large. Speaking on the planned protest, JSO National Secretary Martin Agbanubi, who signed the notice, said the demonstration was necessary to draw public attention to the potential impact of the bill. He also described the planned action as a critical moment for healthcare workers, urging maximum protection. This news was sourced from the Punch newspaper. Healthcare workers protest controversial reform bills at National Assembly. Okay, another news on protest from the Daily Post newspaper. Women from different advocacy groups have stormed the constituency offices of two members of House of Representatives from Abia State, Obi Ogocha and Mascot Ugechi, to demand more seats for women in state and federal legislative houses. The women were drawn from the League of Women Voters, International Federation Women Lawyers, National Association of Muslim Women, People with Disability, among other groups. The women in large numbers first took their demand to the Umuahia office of member representing Ukwano Umuahia Federal Constituency, Obi Ugocha, before moving to Aba to register their case at the office of Mascot Ikwechi, who represents Aba North and Aba South Federal Constituency. Speaking about the advocacy, the chairman of FIDA in Abia State, Injedika Anyanwa, expressed displeasure over the National Assembly for the delay in the passage of the special seats for women. The women who were holding green leaves said they came to solicit the support of the Abia House of Representative members for the passage of the bill. This news was sourced from Daily Post newspaper. Women storm House of Representative members' offices in Abia demand more legislative seats and appointments. Okay, now away from protests to the political sphere to see what is going on in preparation for the 2027 election. From the Vanguard newspaper, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has said yesterday that it has stepped back from the brink of a deep internal crisis, with camps loyal to Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike opening peace talk to steady the party ahead of the 2027 elections. This comes after months of tension have been building, spilling into courtrooms, public exchanges, quiet power plays, raising real fears about the party's unity and its readiness to the next election cycle. Now under the mounting pressure, both sides appear to be recalibrating, choosing dialogue over a demanding standoff. Speaking in Abuja yesterday, factional PDP National Chairman Kabiru Teminu Turaki said that the party's National Working Committee, NWC, aligned with the Makinde camp, had taken the first step to ease tension and reopen communication following intervention of the Board of Trustees, led by Senator Adolphus Wabara. As an initial show of good faith, the NWC postponed key meetings of the National Executive Committee and National Caucus and toned down its public messaging. But the party said it did not get the same response in return, pointing instead to weaponization of hurtful rhetoric and derogatory statements. This news was sourced from the Vanguard newspaper. 2027 Makinde Wike camp break ice, move to save PDP. Another story from the Punch newspaper. Tanker driver flees after crash kills dispatch rider in Lagos. A tanker driver is on the run after a collision between his vehicle and a dispatch rider along the Apapa Oshodi Expressway in Lagos, which resulted in the rider's death. Newsmen gathered from a statement issued on Thursday by the spokesman of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LATMA, that the incident occurred around the Celeb Bridge corridor along the busy expressway. According to the statement, the Howo tanker, which was fully loaded with diesel, rammed into the dispatch rider, causing him beneath the vehicle. The impact reportedly led to the rider's death on the spot. He added that last man operatives stationed along the axis swiftly conducted off the scene with cones and caution tapes to prevent secondary accidents and ensure the safety of other road users. He also said that he called on the police to conduct a thorough investigation into the cause of the crash and ensure that the fleeing driver is brought to justice. This news was sourced from the Punch newspaper. Tanker driver flees after crash kills dispatch rider in Lagos. Lastly, this morning we'll be taking a news story from the Nation newspaper. Justice Chukwujenwu Aneke of the Federal High Court in Lagos has held that the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) exceeded its statutory authority in dissolving the board and management of the Union Bank of Nigeria, declaring the January 2024 intervention unlawful. Delivering judgment yesterday, the court held that the Apex Bank's actions were ultra-vires and not in compliance with the provision of the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020. The suit was filed by Titan Trust Bank Limited, Lexus International DMC, and Magna International DMCC, who claim to be the ultimate beneficial owners of Union Bank. They challenged the CBN's decision to dissolve the bank's board, appoint new management, and initiate a recapitalization process that allegedly diluted their shareholding and excluded them from key decisions. In the judgments, the court nullified the entire regulatory intervention, granting several reliefs in favor of the applicants. This news was sourced from the Nation newspaper. Court voids CBN takeover of Union Bank. And that's where we wrap up our newspaper review segment of the Carnival Breakfast Show. But before we go, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. We have that health workers protest controversial reform bills at National Assembly today. Also, 2027 Makinde Wike camp breaks ice, move to save PDP. And from the Nation newspaper, court voids CBN takeover of Union Banks. From the Daily Post newspaper, women storms House of Reps members' offices in Abia, demand more legislative seats and appointments. And lastly, tanker driver flees after crash kills dispatch rider in Lagos. All right, this is where we call it a wrap. Thank you very much for staying tuned and for listening. Do not forget that you can always stay informed by checking out our news updates at our website on www.carnivalmedia.ng. It's been Elizabeth Tessie Okemukoko telling you to have a beautiful and a lovely day.